y'all. So today we made these super soft, super warm fleece blankets, and it was super easy to make. So this is the one that we made. It is black check, of course, with red, and it is for my mom. It just matches everything that she has, so I let her pick it out and so she can use it for Christmas. And if you can see, the black and white side has red, and then the red side has the white, which was really easy to do. It's just about the way you tie it. So really, there are only 3 steps to making this blanket. Here's how. Step 1 is to lay the fabrics on top of each other and try to line up the sides as much as you can. And as you can see here, there are sides where I ended up having to cut off some of the extra fabric, which is okay, but I think I'm gonna save the fabric to do something else later on. Once you have the fabric cut, I actually cut 2 sides, and when I cut them, the black side looked like it was longer, but I couldn't really see what I was cutting. So I flipped it over to where the red side was facing up, and it turns out that the red fabric just needed to be stretched a little bit, and they were exactly the same size. So if that happens, just try to stretch the fabric because you don't want to mess it up by accidentally cutting something that doesn't really need to be cut. Step 2 is to cut little slits all around the edges, and the corners are a little tricky, and I've made these blankets before, but I didn't like how we did the corners last time, so I changed it up a bit, and I love how the corners turned out this time. And here's how I did it. So I cut to where there would be a slit directly on the corner, and I just, instead of having it pointed, I cut it flat so it would match all of the other little strips. And then I cut a slit on either side to make strips there, and I just made sure they were about the same size, and the little triangle in between the corner strip and the 2 on either side, I just threw that piece away. And when you're cutting the strips, you want to make sure that you cut them long enough to where you can tie them in a knot. And we double knotted most of them. There were some that we cut too short and they're only 1 knot, so hopefully those will stay in, but if you need to, just cut it a little bit longer and just try to keep them as even as possible. So those were all 3 steps, and I'll recap again. So step 1 is to stack the fabrics on top of each other and trim the edges to where they are exactly the same size. Step 2 is to cut little slits along the edges and be careful about the corners. And then step 3 was to tie them. Double knots are best, of course, to tie them. And when you tie them, they'll be directly on top of each other. So you're not tying a red to a red that's next to it. You're tying a red to a black and white, you know? So the ones that are stacked on top of each other to hold the fabrics together. So that's how you make your own fleece blanket to keep you warm this Christmas.